Hello, Professor. What brings you here? Fancy a bit of fishing? You know, I can hardly go fishing without thinking of old Jeralt. He and I would just sit here, casting our lines again and again. I'm no better at it now than I was then. Not a single nibble. Just like your father. You know all the tricks of the fisherman's trade. I was hopeless at it, but he was a master. In the time it took me to catch one fish, he could fill his basket to the brim. You know, talking to you, I'm feeling very nostalgic. Why don't you join me? We can trade some stories about the old man. We spoke before about how Jeralt never seemed to age, right? Once, when he was drunk, he let the secret slip. He said he'd had an infusion of crest-bearing blood, and it had greatly extended his life. Well, we'd both been drinking. I figured he was joking, so I just laughed it off. Then I asked him his age. He said he'd stopped counting after he hit 100. And he was telling the truth. In those 20 years he was away, he didn't age a bit. An incredible person, to be sure. And I probably don't know the half of it. Actually, I'd like to ask you something about Jeralt, if you don't mind. When Jeralt was away from the monastery, what was he like? In other words, he was exactly the same. When he was with the knights, he always found time to go fishing. He was hooked on it, you might say. He'd say there was no greater pleasure in life than sinking his teeth into a fish he'd caught and washing it down with a drink. I have to say, right now, fishing with you, it really takes me back. This feels just like the good old days, when Jeralt was sitting alongside me.